Thank you so much, Immediate Past District Governor Pupidu. I am honored to be here with all of you today, and it's so much fun to see all my friends on the screen. I had such a good time visiting you in person this past February, and I'm really looking forward to today. So I was asked to speak on a very important subject to Rotary International, and that is how we attract members in and how we retain those members through engagement. So when we talk about growing Rotary, there's three ways to do it. First, we can bring members in, and most of us have been asked to join Rotary, and that's a very important part of it. And as incoming presidents, you'll be surprised on how many of your friends are interested in joining the club because you are president now. When I was president, I worked with others in my club to bring in 31 members during my year. And it's amazing how people get more interested in Rotary when they find out their friend is president of the club. The second way that we grow Rotary is engaging people. The easiest members to save are the ones that we already have. It's easier to save a member than go out and bring in a new member. And the third way to grow Rotary is forming new clubs. But we're not going to talk about that today because we are focused on your year of president that starts, pretty soon, 90 some days. So we're going to talk about bringing members in and how to do it, and we're going to talk about retaining those members. So another thing to consider that wraps around all these different types, these three different types of growing Rotary, is the club culture. Because what we found out from surveys is the number one reason that people are happy with their club or the number one reason they're not happy is because of club culture. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So everything that we're going to talk about today is based on the last three surveys we did. One that was done of all our members, one that was done from the Rotary programs and offerings, and one that was done of Rotary leadership. So when we're talking about bringing people in, we have to know why they join Rotary. When we talk about having people stay, we have to know why they leave Rotary. And it's going to be different depending where you are in the world, and it's going to be different depending on what age the member is, and it's going to be different if you're a Rotarian or a Rotaractor. So we're going to talk about all this so you can have practical knowledge to use in your club next year as you grow. So why do people join Rotary? Well, there's four main reasons people join Rotary. For local community service, for friendship, and that's true no matter where in the world you are, service internationally, and professional and leadership development opportunities. And it's going to change per individual, and it's going to change per class of individual. And we're going to break that all down for you. So why do Rotarians join? When we do another survey, we probably won't have the category all the above, because too many people default to that. But if you look at the main reasons people join Rotary, it's for community service. The second business, we have a little bit of noise in the background. The second biggest reason people join Rotary is because of friendship, then international service, and last, professional connections. But when you look at why they stay, it's interesting because community service is still number one, but friendship gets to be the second most important at a higher percentage. So when people join Rotary, we have a problem with people leaving the first 3 years. But after they've been there for 3 years, they stay because they have those friendships like all of us. And professional connections get less important when someone's been in Rotary for a while. So why do members leave? The number one reason why people leave Rotary is because of their culture, the environment. Maybe people in the Rotary Club aren't living up to the four-way test, those kind of issues. Because, people are asked to join a Rotary Club, and so often they join because the person they know in that Rotary Club, and they don't know what's beyond that club. When you first join Rotary, you don't know that there's a district or a zone or international. You don't know that there's fellowships and there's action groups. So the club culture is very important. The other reason people leave is unmet expectations. Let's face it, Rotary is a business, and like any other business, if we give people what they want, they'll stay, they'll be happy, they'll bring in their friends. If we don't give them what they want, or if we promise something and don't deliver it, they will leave. and then to a lesser degree, financial and time commitments. And you're going to see per group that changes. The financial and time commitments are actually more important to Rotaractors than they are to Rotarians. So the good news is most of our Rotarians and Rotaractors, they are satisfied, close to 90% are satisfied with their current club experience. They're happy with the club service, they're happy with the youth service, they're happy with the international service, but they're less impressed with our vocational service, and this is particularly true with Rotaractors. So when we ask our members, both Rotarians and Rotaractors, if they feel comfortable, 90% feel comfortable. 90%, close to 90% feel that they have meaningful relationships. And almost 80% say that they found their friends through Rotary. And most of them enjoy the club meetings. Now, there are certain programs that if you don't have as president, you can add, and they bring extra value and really have your current members be happy and also attract new members. And these are youth exchange. And a lot of times clubs feel like they can't do youth exchange because either they don't have enough host families or they feel they can't afford the buy-in price. But what you can do is you can actually partner up with another club. My club is smaller than my wife's club, and we have younger folks in it. So we do a lot of the hosting for the youth exchange program. My wife's club contributes more dollars because they're an older club and have that resource. Rotary Community Corps is very big in Asia, not so big in the US, but it's a really good program that adds a lot of value. We recently, in the last 3 years, started a Rotary Community Corps for Afghan refugees in my community. We brought 5 clubs together. And now every other week, we have about 250 to 300 refugees come. And it's interesting because we thought that we would grow Rotary quickly by having these members of the community corps, once they found jobs and homes, having them join Rotary. But what we found out is we were actually engaging more of our current members. Every club has a few members that are drifting away. They don't go to as many meetings, as many socials, don't come to as many events. But when you add something new, like Rotary Community Corps, a new service project, they get more engaged and they stay. So that's a good way to retain members. And of course, nobody joins a Rotary club to do nothing. They join Rotary because they want to do something. District grants and global grants are a great way to get members involved. We have a little bit of background noise. I apologize for that. We'll see if we can mute them. Thank you. The other way to engage our members is different kind of youth service awards, such as RILA. But if you add these programs, you're going to add a lot of energy and people are going to stay and be engaged. But remember, the most important thing is the club experience. That wraps around everything. Having a good club experience helps you attract new members to your club. It helps you engage those members. And if you're going to start a satellite club, having that host club have a good experience makes everything work well. So how do you have a good experience? One of the best ways to do is to conduct a survey. It's interesting. I get calls from presidents who need help with certain things. And last year I got a call from a president. He was a president of a club of about 22 people. And he said that half of the individuals were saying they wanted to do away with the 4-way test. And the other half of the members of the club wanted to keep the 4-way test. He said everyone was passionate about it. He asked me what he should do. I said, conduct a survey and then call me back. So he conducted a survey. He called me back a few weeks later. And it turned out that only 2 members of the 22 wanted to do away with the 4-way test. They just happened to be the loudest 2 members in the club. So sometimes doing that survey can give you a real good feel for where your club wants to be. And of course, you can't make every change, but if you do a survey, your members are going to feel like they're being listened to. And if you actually do something that's suggested in a survey, they're going to have buy-in. So that includes a club experience. Now, you might be asking yourself, how often should I do a survey? Well, Rotary recommends once a year. And why is that? Because your culture is always changing. Every time a new member joins your club and every time a member leaves, your culture is changing. Over a year, your culture can be substantially different than it was, the year previous. So getting those surveys out helps you keep in touch with your members and also helps them have buy-in when you make the changes that they request. Okay, so what are the drivers that make
Hello.
Rotarians happy? The
Please
number one
unmute
thing,
yourself. You can ask any questions later, please.
so when you talk
Go
about
ahead,
what
Tom.
makes, thank you
Tom,
very
go
much.
ahead.
Thank you. The number one driver of satisfaction is comfort with your club members. If your members get around and with each other and they intermingle with each other, they have friends in the club, they want to stay. The club's impact in the community also helps tremendously. Now, you have a very important part of your club as being president. Clubs, especially Rotaract clubs, want to see strong leadership. So you being an effective leader, and we'll talk about ways you can do that, is going to help your club satisfaction and also having enjoyable meetings. Now, what makes for an enjoyable club meeting? Obviously, friendships, personal interactions. When new members come into your club, make sure they get involved. You can assign them to a committee. Make sure that you don't have everyone sit at the same table every single week. Make sure that people intermingle and meet others. Learning new things from speakers and from leadership in the club always helps. And having well-structured meetings that start on time and end on time are very important. When you're a president, you want to respect your members. And part of that respect is starting your meeting. If it's a breakfast meeting and start at 7:30, start it at 7:30. Make sure it ends at 8:30. Make sure that you don't have too many announcements and cut the speaker short. And this is true also with socials, and it's especially true with service projects. If you need a few volunteers to be there 15, 20 minutes early, don't ask them to come an hour early because their time is valuable to them. And you could always honor them by, if they help out with the project, you could put it in your newsletter, you could put it on a foam cord board at the next meeting, you could put it in your slideshow, you can send them a handwritten note. Respecting your members as the leader of your club helps a lot. So different regions of the world weight different things for importance for their club members. So friendship and fellowship are important everywhere in the world. No matter where you go, the surveys show that that friendship is important. Social status and reputation are particularly important in India,
आपने क्या कहा था
Africa,
कि
the
दोनों
Middle
बटन
East,
दबाने हैं
and in
इकट्ठे
Central and Southeast Asia.
अच्छा तीन बार था
Career development is very important in India, Japan, Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America. International service is important in Africa, Middle East, and Latin America. Community service is important in every place except Japan, but in Japan, vocational service is very important. And Japan is not into too much of the youth service. Also, what's important to members depends on what age they are. And your club, you can do a survey and figure out how old people are, and that can help you as a president say
मेरे
what's
सारे
important
बने
to the club. For members who are under 40 years old, they want to have impact locally and globally, and they're looking for professional connections, and they want to work with you. When your club gets into the 40 to 60-year-old
अच्छा आठ
generation,
तीन दे दो
they're more career oriented. They're interested in local community service and in youth service. And then clubs that are, and you see this a lot in Rotary International, Great Britain, and Ireland, if they're over 60, they are focusing on fellowship, friendship, and service. So it's also different if you're a president of a Rotary Club or a Rotaract Club. So let's take a look at that. Now, if you're a Rotarian, remember, people join for community service, friendship, international service, and professional connections. That's true in most Rotary clubs that were surveyed. But the Rotaractors, if you
आपका
look at
नाम
the
तो नहीं
bottom
आएगा
right,
मोबाइल आपका
the leadership skills, 15%. So we didn't have that big of a demand for Rotary
तो मैं
clubs
नाम अपना भेज रहा
without
हूँ
leadership skills. But for
कैसे भेजें
Rotaractors, they very much care about those leadership skills. So it's important to know what your club wants, and knowing what your club demographic wise, geographic wise can help you in general figure out what you need for your club. Now, why do they stay? So, we talked about reasons they join, but we also want to know why they stay. Because if you have the reasons why they stay, then they won't leave. And then we can learn how to help them. So Rotarians stay for community service, they stay for friendship, international service, and professional connections. Rotaractors are somewhat the same, but again, look at that bottom right, the leadership skills, 15%. If you want a Rotaract club that's going to be strong and you want those Rotaractors not only to join, but to stay, you have to give them leadership skills. You have to give them mentors. You have to give them programs and speakers.
Please
that will
unmute,
take their careers.
mute your phones. I cannot hear what he's saying.
So thank you. So when we look at Rotaractor satisfaction, they have different reasons that they're satisfied than Rotarians do. If you're a president of a Rotaract club, it's really important that you lead a good meeting and that you show good leadership skills. Rotaractors will leave if there's not a good president, even more so than Rotarians. What's important to Rotaractors is the impact that that club has in their community. If they are doing service projects, if they can see the wonderful things that are being done in the community, that helps them stay. They care about youth and vocational service. They care more about vocational service, meaning career-oriented service, than the Rotarians do. They want to enjoy their meetings and they want to have friendships and personal connections, especially connections that can help them succeed in their careers. Now, why do Rotaractors leave? Personal circumstances. They have a child and they get busy. They move because they have a job. Also, if the Rotaract Club is not having enough meaningful service projects or interacting with the community, they'll also leave. Rotaractors are more likely to leave for time commitments than Rotarians, and they're also likely to leave if they're not finding professional contacts. So again, if it's a Rotaract Club, work on the professional vocational aspect. Now, where are the opportunities to grow Rotaract? If we have increased vocational service, find new professional contacts, bring in all the leaders of the businesses that you can into the Rotaract clubs and have them do mentoring. And there's also good reverse mentoring where Rotarians can get good computer skills and social media skills from the Rotaractors. But having that interaction between professional Rotaractors will help us grow Rotaract. So overall, how do we drive membership growth? What we have to do is we have to understand what our individual members want, what their needs are, what their expectations are. How do we do that? We do that through a survey. And we talked a little bit about surveys, but we didn't talk about when's the best time to do a survey. The best time to do a survey is when people come into the club or actually during their time in the club. Now, most clubs, when we ask them, how many of you have done surveys, less than 5% of the clubs usually have done a survey. And when we ask what type of survey, what they usually say is they do exit interviews. Well, exit interviews, the studies have shown, aren't the most effective kind of interview because you do not, as a club president, you don't have time to remake the club in order to meet the expectation that is going to be met. So if you want to make a change, you got to make it before they're about to leave. And also Rotarians are good people. They sometimes don't want to hurt our feelings. And if you do an exit interview, they might say it's a time commitment problem when really it's a different problem that can be corrected if we knew what it was. So make sure your members are invested in club activities, projects, and that they're making friends. If somebody hasn't shown up for a meeting for a while, reach out to them, ask them to come back. If someone isn't in a particular activity, isn't on a committee, assign them to a committee. If you have a bunch of new people come in the same time, you could have them as a class and they can have their own service project. That way they get to meet friends with each other and they have a place where they feel that they're comfortable, someone they can sit with at a meal, those kind of things. Make sure your meetings are exciting, have good speakers, create a culture that's welcoming and inclusive. Don't have a club that is always making jokes that are at someone else's expense. Even though it might seem to be funny, to outsiders, it makes it look like it's going to be hard to break into that club. And if there is a conflict between members of your club, make sure that you deal with that right away. Bring those members together and see if you can somehow get them to get along. If you let it fester, then they might bring others in, and that causes a lot of feelings of not friendly environment. So there are a lot of resources that you can go onto Rotary.org. You can check into membership. You can look at their assessment tools. There's 7 different kinds. Now what I'd like to do, which is my favorite time of any speech that I give, is to answer any questions you have, because I know that you want to leave today with answers to your questions. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please shout them out, and I'd be happy to.
Okay, thank you very much, Pastor Governor Tom. Let's one by one, please unmute one by one, and you can raise your, through emoji and ask your questions very quickly, giving everyone a chance. Okay, Rotarian Ali, for you.
Okay, yes, I had a quick question that when we're talking about being precise and getting a very short meeting done, what I've found out is that since I've been involved with my club and over the years, that it depends. I think you mentioned the word culture. So my question is that culture plays more part in that than we trying to, because some places it's not easy to just get in there, get the work done and out. I mean, in America you can have lunch meetings but some meetings it's going to be that first of all it's fellowship combined with the whole meeting. So it's not always going to be. I was just bringing that up and I wanted to ask that I don't think that's a hard fast rule, is it? That you have to be very precise and crisp and get it done. I mean, I know it's time saving, but I think culture plays a part. Don't you think, Tom?
Ali, you're
Or
absolutely right. And culture plays a part in everything. And if culture is a word that sometimes needs a little bit of definition, especially when it comes to Rotary. Culture is basically the way we do things around here, the way things have always been done. Sometimes the culture is positive, sometimes it's negative. And of course, there's good parts of the culture. If your culture is good, the club is bringing in members, it's raising money, it's doing service projects. If the culture is bad, then it's not going to be as effective. So, Ali, you're right. It's more about setting expectations and knowing what the expectations of your members are so you can meet those expectations. I love coming to certain areas of the world, and I know that that meeting could last 3 to 5 hours sometimes, and that is their culture. Um, and that works fine for them, and I enjoy it as well. However, if your expectation, if you're a young professional and you have to be to work by a certain time, then you need to make sure it's not bad to have a long meeting, but if everyone in the club is expecting, or the majority are expecting a short meeting, you need to meet those expectations. So thank you very much, Ali, for bringing that up. Good point.
thank you.
Yes, Rotarian Muksha Bhatt, your question, please. Quickly ask and let's move. You can unmute yourself.
Defense.
It's okay. So we can charter a new Rotary Club in our ex-district 3272?
I am not.
Let me answer that question. At the moment, no. Until the RI is being given that consent. At the moment, no. It's internal growth. Organic growth is expected for the former 327. Thank you. Anyone else wanted to ask anything because actually Tom kept it the time for you to ask questions.
Salim.
Yes, Salim. Yes, Salim.
Yes, I just want to know that membership issue is normally everywhere in the world. And I believe that if we have community club, then only we can increase the membership. And with that, we have to provide service. The service projects with local community is very important to raise the membership. And we are lacking of this. What is your saying?
You are absolutely right on that. When we survey individuals, former Rotarians and current Rotarians, the most important thing to them is actually local service. I know we spend a lot of time talking about the Rotary Foundation, and we talk a lot about international service projects, and those are wonderful as well. But you're right, if we're going to grow Rotary, the number one preferred type of service is local service. And not only those that are funded by district funds, but also a lot of clubs have their own foundations. They do local service that's not even reported to Rotary. But that is very important. Thank you very much for bringing that up, Celine.
Yes, Zainab.
First of all, welcome, Gump, Mr. Tom. Nice to see you again. Okay, so my question is, what is that one tried and tested strategy that you have witnessed so far among the road track clubs that has worked for keeping the road tractors interested and voluntarily tied to the passion that they want to serve in?
Well,
My
that's a very
question
good
is,
question.
excuse me, my question is also related to the road track.
So the one way that Rotaract somewhat differs around the world than other Rotary clubs is that they sometimes meet less frequently. Rotary only requires you to meet twice a month. Most traditional legacy clubs meet 4 times a month. But there needs to be good communication as to when Rotaract clubs are meeting. You know, whenever they get together, there's so much energy. There's high energy. When I have been to Pakistan, I've witnessed Rotaractors doing such great things and having so much energy. But a lot of times they don't have their calendar set far enough in advance where people can commit. So the typical Rotary Club actually has a calendar of events coming up. Rotaract are more spontaneous. There's a lot more spontaneity. But if they can work on getting projects scheduled earlier, then there'll be a lot more people that attend. But overall, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you very much for that question.
I have a question about road track.
Yes.
So,
Please ask it.
Rotarian Tom, the current Rotractor are not responsible about the current situation in Rotary Pakistan. And an RI committee also suspend the road track district. I request, please restore the road track district in X3272. It's not good you also suspend the road tractors. They are not responsible about the current situation in Rotary Pakistan.
Mubashir, may I answer this question, Tom? I
Yes.
think it's a RI decision. We are, Tom and myself are not in position to answer you because currently the Rotaract is a type of membership in our organization. It's not a separate organization, you know, after the elevation, elevate Rotaract. So therefore, it is the RI decision. It's a type of membership. So it's part of our district. So it is not Tom's or my suggestion or decision. It has been taken. So I kindly request you to obey with the Rotary International decision. Thank you. Yes, Safa. Safa. Safa Minhas, you can unmute yourself. You have raised your hand.
Good afternoon, everyone here, and
Good
it's great honor to be part of this meeting, and I am representing the Rotary Club of Chakwal, and I am secretary there. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Somebody's on.
Okay. We are very happy and glad to form a new charter in Pakistan, and particularly in Chakwal. We are doing a lot of community service, and we will like to add some international experience in our community service. And I am confident that the Rotary International will help us in adding the value in our community service. Is there any sort of program that we can add up with our, already we are doing community service in our town. We just want to add this international experience and some value. Is there any forum like that?
There are several groups that have project fairs, you know, especially in Central and South America, where they meet once a month, usually virtually online, sometimes in person once a year, and they swap projects and solicit funds. You know, I know my current president of my club is actually a cousin to Director Fez. And so we have done recently a $21,000 grant, club grant to Pakistan. And now we're in the process of doing a $100,000 grant through our district for the super villages. And I know we get a lot out of doing that. I suggest you do reach out to other districts and see if you can do an international project, especially one that you can travel to, because people get a lot out of it. I recently got a grant that I was in charge of approved for Ukraine, but when I started, it was before the war started, and it was a Hearts of Europe grant where we could actually bring people, and the travel would be covered by the grant. But now we can't go there. So I would say if you're going to do an international grant for your club, make sure it's somewhere you can visit either before, during, or after, so that your people can get more out of the experience and be more engaged. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. Thank you, Tom. And to add to Tom Inhas, actually, at the moment, because of these non-district conditions, grants are being suspended, Rotary district grants and the global grants. However, as Tom mentioned, international partners, and also you can showcase your projects on My Rotary. There's a section on showcase. Please go there and you can, ask for partners to work with your worthy project. At the moment, it's a club-to-club international projects you could do, but definitely at the moment, global grants and the district grants have been on hold. Thank you. Yes, Misra? Misra? Yeah, you can unmute yourself, Misra. Misra?
Yes, okay. Thank you so much. This is Rotarian Past President Noreen Mirza, Rotary Club Islamabad Renaissance. I've been in Rotary for almost 26 years. My question is to Tom, more about, since I feel this was not touched upon much today, so my question is about women participation in the Rotary. Since I've been in Rotary for the last 26 years, what I've noticed is that having a mix of women and men in a club does make a difference. It develops better understanding, better working relationships also, and better working conditions as well. Women are quite resourceful. In my own club right now, we have about 40% of women. And in my club, the women are the most active members, and they support us in all the projects that we do. So my question to Tom is, what are the international statistics and how would you comment on that, please? Thank you.
I am happy to. So what we found is that whenever we have a club that has a more diverse membership, gender, race, they seem to be more resilient from the standpoint that they address problems in a way that they have lots of different inputs from different areas. I started a veterans club in my district, and whenever you ask for officers of a club, there's a certain type of personality that we had someone from the 82nd Airborne, a paratrooper that wanted to be in charge, and his idea of membership was they were going to grow the club faster than any other club in the district, and they were going to have 100 people by the end of the year. Well, the membership chair were two female nurses. One was named Kathy Army. That was her nickname because she was in the Army. The other was Kathy Navy because she was in the Navy. They both were Kathy. And their idea for membership was we were going to interview everyone. We're going to make sure they're a good fit for this club, and then bring them in slowly and make sure they're assimilated. So what was the right answer? The right answer was a combination of both of those. So what we found out is diversity helps make clubs stronger. And when they face a problem, they're better able to solve it because they have more representation from the community, but also diversity in thought. And sometimes you have to see problems from a different angle in order to fix them. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Tom. Professor Azam Hussain, you can unmute yourself and answer your question, ask your question. Professor Hussain.
Thank you very much indeed. And I'm profoundly grateful to the leadership of Rotary for conducting this type of training program. Actually, it was highly valuable, and we have learned a lot. I would like to pay a rich and refined tribute to His Excellency Tom Gump for providing us valuable information. On behalf of my president from Rotary Club of Multan Midtown, Sir Altaf Shahid. I am on his behalf. I pay gratitude for providing us such kind of opportunity to share information and to have the road plan for the next upcoming days. Thank you very much indeed. I'm also grateful to all the participants who have joined. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. Who is ASAD? Can you please mention your name and can I know who
My
this
name is
person
already
is?
mentioned. My name is Asad. ASAD stands for Asad.
Asad. Okay. Okay, Asad.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So, with gratitude to all the trainers, my question consists of two parts. In the first part, I would like to ask that in Rotary, what product we are selling is the club experience. So, what marketing strategy can we adopt that our members and potential members expect and that they find it useful? And the second part is we might have admitted good human beings to our clubs, but how can we convert them into becoming good Rotarians? Thank you.
So when you come up for the marketing strategy, it's got to fit for the group that you're marketing. If your club is interested in bringing in young people, you should do your marketing in a forum that would reach young people. If you are interested in reaching professionals, that might be a different marketing campaign. And when it comes to making those individuals good Rotarians, you know, I feel better every time I go to a Rotary meeting. I feel like I'm smarter. I feel like spending time with people who care about other people makes me a better person. So have them fully participate in the Rotary experience. You know, so many times people said, I am a Rotarian by membership, but it's not until they go on that first service project, whether it be local or international, when they see the difference that their club is making in the world, that they truly become a Rotarian. So I believe it's time spent with other Rotarians that are going to make our new Rotarians better Rotarians. And the marketing should be tailored for whatever group you're trying to reach. Thank you for the question.
Yes. Misra, you want to ask another question? Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. Actually, I was just, thank you, Asad, also for raising a question, which I also partially had in mind. And to Tom, I do want to raise this thought that I have, and it definitely relates to membership, inclusion, and retention too. My thinking is that considering the predicament that we are in our district right now, why not we also focus on some local and indigenous people within our Rotary folds, within our district? I would, if you please, would like to call them Rotary intelligentsia. They may not be the people who have been in the limelight in the past years, so many ways, but they are most definitely very credible people in our district who know Rotary, who are inspiring people, like Asad said, how to inspire the others. Like I've been a faculty of RLI since 2009, since RLI began in Pakistan, and I've been a member of the faculty, and I've seen things change. I've seen people being more interested and more inspired by Rotary. So what I basically want to say is that my proposition is to have whatever the group may be called, if you may call them Rotary intelligentsia, to identify such people who have served for some time, who have the personalities, the communication, the ability, the professionalism to inspire and be the leaders, or so to speak, stand out in the sense that people can follow them and be inspired, and bring out those people and make a core group of such people. And I repeat, with due apologies, not probably people who have been in the limelight in the past many years, but probably it will need a little digging up. That's what I want to say. Thank you so much.
You know, that's a very good point, and I've seen it work in real life. The weekend before last, I was in Vancouver for the day-in event, North American Youth Exchange Network. They had about 500 people there. And the first plenary speaker was an Indigenous individual. And they did not expect to have a fundraiser that weekend, but they turned it into a fundraiser for a library to serve. They needed $30,000 to complete a library to serve 7 districts in Canada. And they raised $20,000 that weekend because they were so inspired by the Indigenous speaker. So I think that's a great idea.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you very much, Tom. Any one more question we could accommodate? If
May I?
yes,
It's
Dr.
Dr.
Noor.
Noor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Noor. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Actually, I just wanted to ask Tom. He has given a wonderful presentation. The problem which we are facing in Pakistan is more related with retention. People are more interested to become a president, and after completion of their years, they leave the club. So, how to actually go ahead? Because they are there, if they come up, like they join the club in, say, 22, 23, they want to be the president within next 2 years, and after completion of their particular term, they leave the club. And that is the real problem which we've been facing in 3272. And that is something has to be tackled actually. And how to go ahead for that? Yeah, thank you.
You know, that's a very real problem, and it's a real problem throughout the world. In North America, we face a similar problem where we have bankers and some other professionals that have their dues paid for by their company, and then they retire, and then they quit Rotary. So the best suggestion I could have is to find out what those individuals really want other than being president. Is it some kind of leadership track that'll help them be district governor someday? Or is it a track that allow them to be a leader in a way? So if we can do personal surveys of them and find out what they want and give them other leadership opportunities. So Rotary is a great opportunity for leadership, but we have to provide continual leadership opportunities if we're going to keep those people. It can't just be you have a club president and nothing else. So we could put them in charge of the golf tournament or the gala or some other event, or in charge of membership and bringing in other leaders. That would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Secondly, I have a suggestion. Can I?
Yes. Please.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's more related with the administrative part. I would suggest to IPDG Puduru that she can have a co-host who can actually mute all the people, and then whoever raises hand, they can actually ask to do this unmuting, because sometimes it's very disturbing that the things which we really want to hear, someone actually unmute themselves, and there is a lot of problem over there. So I would suggest that you can have a co-host during these meetings, maybe one of the coordinators who are sitting over here. So that would facilitate to listen whatever is
we did it, Dr. Noor. I actually muted everyone and allowed only other questions, but problem is I think people are logging through the mobiles. You know, they just unmute themselves and logging on certain times. So I think it's a very important fact, friends, because we need to cooperate with the speaker as well as the listeners, because we are all here to learn, nothing else, sacrificing your valuable time. I appreciate, Dr. Noor, your comment, and I sincerely hope all Rotarians will understand, because last session also we had this issue. I actually muted everyone and allowed them to unmute because it has to be, but certain people have forgotten, I guess, to unmute themselves, mute themselves. Yes, this will be the last question. President-elect Ahmed.
Yeah. Yes. Hi. Hello. Yes. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, like I want to add into the last comment that we can allocate a tech host to these sessions. So he or she can, take um, over all these administrative issues, so that we could have seamless meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, friends, as Tom has to leave by 4:30 or 4 o'clock of your time, as he has another finance committee meeting of the Rotary International, and we're very thankful in between he has kind of, allowed us to to listen to him, and we sincerely thank you. And without much ado, may I kindly request Pastor Sri Governor Saifullah Chowdhury to deliver the vote of thanks. Over to your side.
Thank you very much, Pabudu. Hello to my friend, my brother by choice, Tom Gump. And I, on behalf of my district Rotarians, really appreciate your availability at this point of time, because we understand it is a long distance and long difference in the time with Pakistan and with the US. And no doubt it is heart-wrenching and hard to digest, even after passing 2 months, more than 2 months, that we are non-district now. But the main thing is we are Rotarians, and this is a blessing. And in the month of this blessings, the month of Ramadan, I appreciate the efforts of Pubudu, that she step ahead and started this pets, and we all are struggling with the membership. And with your valuable input and your kind hand on 327 format 3272, we are sure that we will be able to strengthen our membership, and we'll be back with the more strength very soon. Thank you very much, Tom. This is because you are not new now in Pakistan. You are not only a friend of mine, you are a friend of Rotary Pakistan. And thank you very much on behalf of Rotary 32 format 3272 and Rotary Pakistan for being there and all time available to guide us and to inspire us. It is always a treat to be with you, either it is on Zoom, it is on person, and it is always a pleasant thing. Thank you for your valuable input and guidance. We are obliged. Thank you very much. Over to Bubudu.
I also add with Chaudhry Saifullah. Dear Tom Gump, it was wonderful session on membership development and retention. In Pakistan, in our clubs, there is a problem of retention. People come and leave after 6 months, after 1 month. I think this presentation was very valuable for our clubs, and we can learn a lot from your seminar. So nice of you, and I also add that it was very wonderful session by you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Salim. Thank you, Bahut Shukriya.